First stream. Yo, what up, you guys? Welcome to Goopy McGooperson, Dennis and Dad, whatever you want to call it. We're Goopy Goop on this, we're Goopy Goop on that. Well, we're here. We're gonna be doing some live streaming today from about I don't know what time is it right now. From about 11-ish, probably to about 2. We're gonna try to get as much Goop as we can. We're gonna try to get further along in the stuff that we need. We have a lot of stuff that we do need to get done. There are some trials that we can try to get going, and there are pretty good trials. We're on a wild card one, so we're looking pretty good for trials right now. So just need to get on the leaderboard. And then projects, we're looking at Leaper pulse units are what we really need more than anything. Nothing else is really that big of a deal. Everything else is just pretty much just play by ear, play by ear, play by ear. So let's see what we got going on. We got electromagnetic storm. We do need to get struck by lightning. However, I don't know how you get struck by lightning, so that will be something that I'll have to figure out. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but we'll figure it out. Again, thanks a lot for joining me. Guys, who are liking the content here, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already, and turn on the notifications, because we're going to try to get more into this and doing this more often, but, you know, it's just gotta feed the family first, and this seems like the majority of my time anyways now. We can just, oh, look at that. Arc Courier right off the bat. That's not something we're not against, because we're actually looking for those.
Storm. If you must venture out beneath the open sky, then be careful.
Like, these are good because if I can get one server core right now, just hop in, get one server core, I'm really happy. Server. You know, Sentinel firing cores, not really exactly what somebody would want, especially out of the Arc Courier. It's just not. I'm going to be 100% truthful. It's not the one I need. I need Surveyor Core, like, so bad. I need one so bad, but it's just not allowing me to find one. What is that?
Firefly, up there.
What? Gotta find someone to get this stuff. I don't have anything. I get shot by lightning? Dang, I was fucking him up though. It had 2 legs on. It had 2 legs on. I'm trying to think, should I just load out for leapers? I might just load out for leapers and try to get the cores. Yeah. I mean, I need 4 of them. I need 4 of the cores, so if I'm gonna need 4 of those cores. We might as well just this. Take this. This. Probably less than that. Probably take these and then I think that's it. Let's upgrade it. Why not? Now we can go in and maybe we can get a kill or 2 or 3 or 4. I'd like to just get a leaper or find a surveyor. Get that until we are basically it's gonna work like this until we're getting seen on YouTube and I don't know, getting more viewers and all that stuff, and kind of calm, smoking weed down during the streams and shit. But till then, I don't see a problem with it, and I don't see why you wouldn't. I mean, it's not like there's ever in here. It's like in here, sometimes. That's not too bad. We can throw this over here and get to work, I guess. Because I'm a friend of the fresh starts. We can get it up and over here. here. Perfect. It sounds like there's a bombardier right around here too. We might be able to smoke that motherfucker. We need those cores. I think that's what I'm about to do. Literally did not get anything I needed. Whoa, bro. This guy's like all up on me, dude. What the fuck? Whoa! You gotta be kidding me, dude. That did not just happen like that. That did not just happen like that. I mean, that did not. I mean, it did not just happen like that, did it? It did though. Firefly fucking bitch comes out of nowhere and just fucking takes 200 in ammo. That's a lot of ammo. By the way, takes fucking this, which is, you know, unfucking believable. Hey, am I crazy right now? Fucking brand new fucking anvil, fucking all the way upgraded and shit, like. That was fucking great, dude. That was fucking great. We might as well just bring this bitch in, bring one of these in, lure grenade. There we go.
Emergency type 6 paramedics needed.
That's pretty bad. He just got bombed by the fire guy like immediately, dude. Like, how does that happen? Like, how does that happen? You're just bombed by the fire guy immediately. The fire guy just comes in and says, "Meh." That's pretty sad. Pretty sad. Not much sadder I can get with that. Especially since I didn't get like paracord or anything like, special that I needed. I got something special that I needed. Would have been different. But I didn't get anything special that I needed. We're fucking float out by the village now. I want that leaper. What I really want. I want nothing to do with anything but that leaper. bombardier, the leaper. All I really want right now. Get some. I can't find any. Good loot. Good loot. We're not finding much. Come on. We're not finding much. I mean, those grenades are gonna do great as soon as I find myself a fucking home at. Lots of trinkets. Lots of fucking trinkets, man, but nothing I need, of course. Nothing I fucking need. Lots of fucking trinkets, but nothing I need. No fucking things I need. Lots of fucking trinkets. Lots of fucking bullshit. Lots of fucking shovels. Look at this. You think I need that? You think I need that? I'm gonna take it. But I don't need it. Asshole. No, you could have gave me instead of that. You could have gave me the blueprint for the anvil. That would have been fucking spectacular. But yet you didn't give me that, did you? Give me nothing. You give me shit. Come here, you little bastard. What do you got? What do you got, dickhead? Fucking smoking. Shit. Where can we go to get a Leaper or a bombardier? Well, we don't want us two of those fucking faggots. Right. Rocketeer over here. Kind of wish it was like more, less like could use that band-aid. It's like, dude, where's all the... Oh my god. There. How did I not hit? I swear to God. Oh, I will take you out. I wanna get Bring your ass off over here, fire boy. Bring your ass off over here, fire boy. Really? Jesus, those fucking things are annoying, bro. There's no fucking way, dude. Those things just smoke you, dude. Those things are too OP. Like, you can't even kill them. Like, you can't. I mean, I can, but unbelievable, bro. Like, are you kidding me? What is that? Oh yeah, of course. That's like 3 times I went in and just got wrecked. They OP'd the fucking shit out, brother. They must OP'd the fucking... I don't know about all that. I'm about to react to some YouTube for a little bit, because this is on a whole nother level. This is on a whole nother level, boys. Boys and girls, whole nother level. Whole nother level, boys and girls. This is this. Let's watch this Nick Shirley shit. See what this is about. Wait. It should be on system. Game. Game. Good. Not coming through though. Closer. Yeah. So, well, it is you guys. What they doing? What's old Nick Shirley doing this time? That's what I'm wondering. You guys, this game. You should be able to hear it.
Okay. Yeah, because we're seeing like we got Garden of Angels, Blossom Hospice here.
Yeah, you can hear it now.
Okay, well we'll keep looking for Guardian of Angels
He's
then.
in there asking people.
Hello, sir.
How can I help you?
Yes.
Hospice
Well, we were
run,
originally
Ellie.
looking for some hospice for
Now
our
I need to
grandma,
figure out
and then it
as
turns
to
out
why I
that
can't hear
all
it,
these
which
locations
is-
are hospice and home health care locations, and a lot of these
Looking for hospice for who?
grandma.
For Dr. Oz?
Yeah, for Dr. Oz.
Yeah?
Yeah, for our grandma.
Yeah?
It'd be-
for grandma?
it'd be pretty
Take
good.
Dr. Oz to take his grandma and go to the other buildings and find the hospice. You know?
It's in
this is
my-
stupid. You can record me.
Why can't I
It's
record
okay.
you?
You cannot.
Oh, okay. Well,
You cannot
we
record
were
me.
looking for Guardian of
Cannot have
Angels.
Well, did you see any Garden of Angels on the doors?
Nope, but they received and billed $4.8 million.
That's
Well,
so
it's
much
their
money.
problem.
But we do have yours actually.
Mine?
Yeah, yours is a KMD, right?
Yes.
So we do have yours, and there are a lot of these.
How many millions did I need?
We don't have your official number because it wasn't posted
How
on
many
the CMS
millions
website
did I get?
or on their data set.
And you're from where?
My name's Nick Shirley. They actually made like all this information, the data public for everyone to see what was going on in our country because so much corruption's happening.
Yes.
Right.
But
Corruption.
it doesn't look like we could find any of your information from the CMS data set, but we do have you here. So is that concerning that your information wasn't reported to the CMS?
What information?
To the CMS data set as far as the billing and how much money you guys receive from Medicare and Medi?
First, you have to research.
Oh, that's what we have
What's
right
the-
here.
No. It's a piece of paper.
Oh well, we went
First you
we
have
went
to
through all the data
research, sir.
sets.
He said,
If you want to learn, I'll teach you how to get after the crooked people.
Okay, help us. We'd
Yeah.
love for you to help
bro,
us.
he's literally
First you-
telling him. He's literally telling them. Listen, little Nick Shirley. Listen, little Nick. I know that you want to figure things out. I know you want to figure things out, little Nick Shirley. But you have to do research.
You have to research, like you said the name, and you have a number, right?
Yes.
Then you come to my office. It's a brand new office, and you don't come to building like this, like from like FBI guys. Oh, we're gonna get the crooks.
Okay, well, can you tell us, for instance, Miracle over there?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about America.
Well, you should because they're.
Why not?
He said, "I don't
You
give a
should because
fuck
they're
about the
making you,
miracle."
people like you who have a real business apparently getting a bad rap. You realize that, right? For instance,
it
they
doesn't
received
mean-
$1.3 million.
You cannot
They're
compare.
a
There
shell
is not a
company.
bad news
There's
reporter.
nothing in there.
That
It's
doesn't
mean
completely
anything to
empty,
me.
and
I
they received
don't
$1.3
care,
million.
sir.
You should care.
What do
Doesn't
you
mean
mean?
If you're in this
anything to
industry,
me.
I'd be pissed if someone was stealing
No.
money, making me look bad if they were in my
Doesn't
industry.
They
mean
don't
right?
look
anything
bad
to me,
because
Nick
I'm not
Shirley.
bad. You have anything against my agency? Let's go.
Well, we were asking.
Put my hands and
We were just asking you questions, sir. Like,
Put my
how come
hands.
Miracle Healing Hospice right there, they received $32,000 per beneficiary,
hands, Nick
yet their
Shirley.
building's completely empty.
call the FBI, Department of Justice.
I'm just doing my job as a citizen to show people what's happening here in our country.
Well, I'm doing
Because we're
my
all
job as
paying
a
a lot of
citizen.
money in taxes, and it
Me
turns out
too.
a lot of it's just going towards fraud.
Well, I'm very happy you're gonna catch the fraud people. Honestly.
Very happy.
Yeah, me
But
too.
it doesn't look like bad.
It ain't
It
him.
doesn't make me
It ain't
bad
him, little Nick
because some
Shirley.
people are doing bad stuff.
Yeah, so what's the need for a 1,000% increase in
ain't him.
hospice here inside of LA, in California?
You're asking me?
Yeah, because you're in the industry, so we figured might as well ask you. Like, you obviously found it was a good business to start. You just started yours, right?
I started my business
How long?
1997.
Okay, great. So
how old
how
are
come
you?
how come
I'm
you're
sorry.
how come you're seeing such an increase in hospice care here?
Maybe I don't know if everybody likes the business. What could I say? I do this from 1997.
Good for you. And so,
Yeah.
since you've been in the industry for so long, why do you think we're seeing a 1,000% increase in hospice care here inside of LA and in
I
California?
cannot answer that question because
Looks
I
like
don't
they're
know.
all running out of here. Everyone's heading out. We just gotta answer some questions, and why can't?
Who's running out?
What? Look at all the people scattering out of here. They're all here just a minute ago.
It's strange, you know. There's, over 80 people connected to one of these dormant motel rooms with no furniture, and they are, getting $30,000 per person. It's millions of dollars. We come and knock on the door. It's an abandoned shell company.
I
shell
don't
building.
say it's right, and I don't care about those people.
Could you just answer the question? What's the need for a 1,000% increase in hospice care here inside of LA and inside of California? You're in the
Not
industry,
me.
sir.
Promise
You've
not me,
known it.
little
You
Shirley.
know it better than
You're
me.
asking me? No, I don't.
You've been in it since 1997. You said.
Yeah, but I don't.
But
So what's the need for an increase?
Maybe there is a lot of old people already. I don't know what to say.
A lot of old people are dying.
You listen to Dr. Oz. Let me tell you like this.
listen to Dr. Oz.
He's a fraud. He sell a lot of medication online. One of them, it's me. I bought.
Well, his
He
information
told
comes
me,
straight from the federal
"Let me
government, so I
finish
trust
it.
his more than yours.
Let
So
me finish
You
it.
trust the
I
federal
bought these
government?
pills, I gained weight.
See, this is the problem right here with people like Nick Shirley and like going out and doing all this. Like, I mean, I get it and I totally support what you're doing, Nick. You're doing a great job. You're just fucking up a little bit. Like that statement you just made right there. Like you gotta clean up what you say. You can't just be saying whatever. It's gotta be thoughtful, man. Because I could rewind this.
well,
We
you
could
still look like you're
rewind.
pretty heavy, sir.
We could
You look
rewind
healthy
this
to me,
real
Because-
quick, and we could just go back just a little bit. And
Weight.
Well, you still look like you're pretty heavy, sir.
You look healthy to me.
Because finish it.
right here.
I bought his pills, I gained weight.
Well, you still look like you're pretty heavy, sir.
You look healthy to me.
Because of
actually.
Dr. Oz.
Oh, you're fat because of Dr. Oz?
Let me tell you like this.
He's a good
And
doctor.
He's a fraud. He
He's a
sell a
good
lot of
doctor.
medication online. One of them, it's me. I bought.
Well, his
He
information
told
comes
me,
straight from the federal
"Let me
government, so I
finish
trust
it.
his more than yours.
Let
So
me
Boom. Right there. His information comes straight from the federal government. So I would trust his information more than yours. That's where your flaw is. That's where your whole flaw is. Like that smug looking face you got there. And like this, like, you're a Fed. Yeah. It's not, you don't trust the federal government like that, bud. The federal government, in my 42 years of life, has never shown me nor anybody else I know a lick of compassion or like we're there for you. So
Finish it.
totally
I
fine.
bought his pills. I gained weight
Well, you still look like you're pretty heavy, sir.
You look healthy to me.
because of Dr. Oz.
Oh, you're fat because of Dr. Oz?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sure.
Sir, how are you
Issue
doing?
about the-
This guy doesn't think there's any fraud going on.
That was a
First of
doctor,
all,
son.
not this guy. You have to respect me.
What's your name?
Doesn't matter.
All right, well,
Let me
this guy with
finish
no
it.
name. Well, you don't think
I
there's
know
any
my
fraud?
name. What's your name?
My name's Nick Shirley.
My name is John Boyagin.
Okay, great.
There is a lot of fraud going on, but it's not me. I don't give a who does what.
Yeah, we never said you were committing the fraud, sir.
Well,
We're
you see,
doing.
I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm here, right?
so
I'm
thank you.
standing next to you.
Do you know where Guardian of Angels Hospice is? No idea. Oh, Angels of Peace. Cool. Hello. Well, can we just ask you guys some questions? We might be able to get
No,
you
you
some
cannot.
business. Are you the head honcho here or what?
No, you're the head hunter. Get out of from here. Give me my
Wait,
phone.
I thought you don't know who these people were, though.
Give me my phone.
Alrighty. Light Angel.
No, come here.
Oh,
This is where it becomes like this is more dividing than it is bringing people together, period. We're going to discuss that a lot on this channel. We're just going to discuss multiple facets of just division and man, so much division going on right now. It's like crazy because you got one side of the world, got them watching shit like this, and
you. Oh, I'm running. Look at him. What?
Come here.
I'm right here. I'm right here, sir.
Come
it's
here.
like this
What's going on?
Call 911.
For what?
Call
weird,
911.
For what?
aggressive, like
Sir, we're just asking questions, and
It's
if you
like
want to answer
a-
them, you can answer them.
like a oh hey,
We're just looking for Guardian
I'm
of
gonna
Angels.
ask you whatever I'm gonna ask you.
You're American citizens.
Look,
And this
we're
is
looking for Guardian of
America,
Angels.
so
You're American
you're
citizens, right?
Of course, are you?
you have to deal with my
Not yet. We're
Then
looking.
get out of here.
That's what we're looking for, sir.
necessary,
100 doors,
unnecessary,
just one door.
really
Okay, get out of
harassment,
here.
kind of.
What's your problem with us asking people about simple questions about where our tax dollars are going?
I'm
I
not
don't.
We're
saying
asking
that
questions
these
about where our taxes
people.
are going.
I'm not saying that these people here are not committing some sort of fraud. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But the clique culture here
You're not
is
asking, you're
becoming
harassing
like
people.
How are we harassing
You
people?
can't-
overturn
Standing
society
here
where
as a
society's not
guardian,
going to be able
and you're
to
harassing people.
Yeah,
work
because people want
very
to kill
well
me for
anymore.
exposing fraud here in the United States.
Why they want
This
to
is
kill
too
you?
much.
You're
Fraudsters
doing
don't like
good
being
job.
exposed.
Take it from somebody
Why are you
who
raising your voice if you have nothing to
saw
hide?
the internet come
You think
up.
I'm hiding?
You know, like
What are you so scared
like
about me
You're
we
coming
used to
around
do
here
the
for?
internet back
I'm not
in the
scared.
day.
I'm telling you, don't harass
You're shaking.
me.
Like
Why are
it
you
used to
shaking?
be like just
Because I
like
have a diabetes.
not like
Oh, okay,
this.
great.
Yeah.
But so,
I need your full names.
oh, you want my full name? It's on the internet.
No, I don't go to internet. I'm too old.
Oh, okay.
What's your full name?
Sir,
This
we're
is-
just asking you questions about.
What's your full name?
This is just
Oh, we just want
They
hospice.
told you the
I
Garden
think
of Angels
people-
in this building.
Guardian
It's
of
right
Angels
here.
to check in my grandma.
Go look for it, bro. You see
That's
any
what we're
Garden of
doing.
Angels?
That's what we're doing.
I'm
And you're getting
telling
mad
you.
at us.
No, you're
We
going
can't
to
find
hold the door.
We can't find it.
I can't find it.
So are all the.
Where's my grandma gonna go, man? They're taking in millions of dollars. I can't find the place. You know?
Well, what can I say? What can I
Okay,
do?
well, thank you, sir. Have a good day. So here in this parking lot, you do have some nice cars. You got a Tesla, a nice Mercedes. You got another Tesla, a nice Lexus, another Tesla, a really nice Mercedes right here as well. Another Tesla, Audi. Really nice cars.
Mercedes-Benz, a lot of Teslas.
A lot of really nice cars for
Hospice.
hospice.
Usually,
Must be very lucrative because a lot of these businesses, these doors right here have nothing on them. All the blinds are turned out. In places like Miracle up there, they have received $1.3 million, yet there's absolutely nothing inside. This is what you call welfare maxing. Sir, how are you?
welfare maxing, huh?
Good. So what do you think about all this hospice fraud? Sir, you're in the Cybertruck. driving away, taking money from old people. Yet he's just driving away in his Cybertruck, won't even answer any questions. Let's see, we have another rich person as well that's getting rich off this hospice.
Bad hospice.
This guy's leaving as well. So the two people that walked out of Holy Angels, they're in a brand new Cybertruck and a new BMW. How lucrative of a business is hospice? I'm seeing a Cybertruck here in a nice BMW. It's good? Yeah, because it looks like, for instance, Guardian of Angels, that used to be here, $4.8 million they build the state of California. And how many clients do you guys have?
Brother, do you have a badge? Do I need to answer your question?
I'm just curious.
Brother, it's not mine. I just work.
Yeah. You must be getting paid pretty well, right?
Bro, this is my parents, bro. Come on.
Do your parents run the hospice?
They don't work.
No. Is that who's that guy in the Cybertruck?
He's my uncle.
He's your uncle. So it's like a family business to own the hospices.
It's not us.
But
It's not us.
but why was he walking out of the hospice then too?
Brother, can you leave me alone?
Like these hospices, there's nothing inside of them.
If it's not you guys, how come you're in the
If it-
newest
yeah, if it-
BMW and the newest Cybertruck?
Brother, because
I can
we
only
have
imagine
money
what the
from
guy
not,
who's in
not
charge
only
is
because of
driving.
hospital, brother, leave me alone.
Just all the other hospices? Do you like taking care of old people? Like, are you the one going out visiting the hospice patients, sir? Uh-oh, he's gonna have to do another point turn.
Yeah, you guys are in my fucking way. Move.
Well, you could just go that way. What's the key to opening up a hospice if I wanted to open up one? Because you're in the family business of hospices. Like if I want to open my own. Hello, can we ask you a quick question? Driving out in a brand new M8. They can't get out that easy. How can I get an M8 as well? Should I open up a hospice? Driving out in a brand new M8 BMW M8 competition. Listen to this thing. This is the sound of hospice money.
Click bar right there. This is the
Would you like to give
sound
any last statement?
of
about what's going
hospice
on here?
money.
Nothing? Because it seems like it was pretty good family business. Another guy just pulled out in the
pretty
M8
unreal.
competition.
Good for them, bro. Why are you guys pocket watching, bro? Leave the fucking people alone.
Because this is taxpayers' dollars that are paying for all this stuff.
Okay. The fucking dude. That ass just working, bro.
With taxpayers' dollars receiving money from Medicare, Medicaid, Medi-Cal, you name it. And it just seems like a lot of people are getting
Alright,
rich
bro,
off of
I'm busy, bro. I have work.
the death of old people. What do you do for work here?
Oh, bro. Right.
What are they doing for work there? That is the question.
All right. Meanwhile, Iran is
Oh
ramping.
God, Fox News, get out of here. We gotta drop this. We can't with that crap. Can we turn on the stream deck? Well, you know what? We can go to the startup. Go to startup. Start our. Do 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 do. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. No, that's all right. Ugh. War on Iran. What's this? Masher. Skateboard. We're goons.
That's her, baby. We're out here, Swamp Fest 2026.
Swamp Fest. I'm not gonna lie, I used to really thrive for this life. And now I look at it and it's like, it reminds me. I'm not trying to be fucked up or anything, but it just reminds me of a 6-pack and a pack of cigarettes, and I want nothing to do with either of those anymore. Not saying the fun isn't there. The fun is there, bro. You can't say the fun is not there. It's there. It's just what it represents to me now is like just that mentality of like a 6-pack and a pack of cigarettes. What else you get your fucking
We're back at
hands
Swamp
on?
Fest 2026. But yeah, we got the circus theme going, and the Reds got the circus tricks. Dude, oh my god, that's the gap to Hubba's? It's a mini mega. Straight off the plane, just get the scaries going. First tee off the plane, that's how you do it, boys. Oh, there's snails and shit.
Oh yeah.
What do you think?
brother.
You think I'm gonna eat shit?
Yeah. No.
Plain legs. Oh god. My heart's pumping, my hands are shaking. Yeah, every time we come to Swamp Fest, it seems like it gets bigger and bigger every year. Now we're checking out the bowl. The first year they built the bowl was just this section. We'll go take a look at it. This thing's insane. This is super sick, this side. This got built when? Last year? Yeah, so this is the 3rd year they have it. We're with Dave, the legend. Yeah, so he does all the painting, I think all of it, maybe most of it.
A little bit of everything, building, painting, welding. Yeah, whatever, problem solver.
Right.
This dude hit me up, he's like, hey, I'm gonna catch you a fish. He was in New Smyrna where I live, and he brought me a fucking trout. He cooked it up and ate it. He like showed up at my house with a fish. It was so sick, that was awesome.
Yeah, Dave. Yeah, what's up, Trey? I think it's incredible, dude.
Will it do?
I love this. I love the circus tent. We heard there might not be burning to the ground.
Yeah, fantastic. If it's not pouring down rain at the event, it's the worst drought in Florida in 25 years, to where I got notified literally the day we showed up and started building. They're like, yeah, it sucks you guys can't have a fire. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, it's a burn ban. You're not allowed to have a fire. It's a felony.
I think there's alternate routes that are gonna happen, and you're gonna be shocked. If there's not allowed to be fires, I think there's gonna be even maybe sicker stuff.
Hopefully.
Thicker stuff than fires? Are you fucking kidding me? I got that. Got that. Got that. Yeah. Hell no. I wouldn't be able to do any of this shit anymore. The guys just kept in practice. I just stopped. But it's cool though. In a wrap around. To the face. Front side. Belly. 1 footer. That'd be sick to do that. Manual and then 180 it. Just building and building and building. just want to build more ramps at my house now. Every time I watch skateboarding, I'm just like, fuck, I should just build. Man, I got my own house now. I can just build ramps. I sell that car that's in my garage. Give like 2 G's up. Just use all that money for concrete shit. Just to fucking build. Get a fucking cover put over it from the house to the garage. Fucking sick. Oh, that looks fun. Real ollie is needed. All the ebb and flow of the no ollies. It's barely tackles too. There's an ollie. No ollie. No need for it. No need for an ollie. There's a little ollie. Yeah, that's a pretty decent fucking run! Yeah, man. Jeez. In and out. Oh, yeah, that was good. Oh, so smooth. Ah, no easy, up easy. Skateboarding has just gotten so much better. Come from a different generation, man. I watched a lot of these youngsters come up, man. They just got way better than we were, man. So fast. They just destroyedly came up and just like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, I've picked it with some of the top skaters in the world. You know some of the top skaters in the world. And it's just, they're just on another level. Like everything feels like great with it. Everything's perfect. Dude. Oh. That's how I feel when I see that shit. That's Rager shit, bro. Got that backside. Backside knows that shit. What's he gonna do? Yeah, I knew he was gonna try to nose blend it. Oh, he just made it look like nothing too. He's like, yup. like, nope, you just got to ollie way earlier, homie. You just got to ollie way earlier, homie. Shit. That was fucking crucial, dog. That was crucial. That shit was crucial. Ben Rabies? It's like still younger than me. Ben Rabies still younger than me. The old man. The old man's gonna get back into it though. We're gonna get some fucking shit going. Don't act like we won't. We will. We will. Gotta start pumping. Incline. Whoops, Max. Always fucking watch these guys rail Max. Or rail Max. Inclines can be really good.
Well, contests are over. We're gonna go see the music, and it's getting dark, so the freaks are about to come out.
Still does not matter. You're still pushing the weight of your body up and down. What?
Man, the morning out here is always interesting, you know. People are kind of coming out of their tents slowly but surely, looking a little haggard. Because, man, I mean, you walk around, you get handed, like, breakfast sandwiches. People are already, like, on two-stroke motorcycles going off.
So we got this ramp down here, right?
All right.
I need you to go lay down as far as you want. I'll clear you no matter what. All right, and I'm just gonna...
I get to pick the distance?
Yeah, you get to pick
All right,
the distance.
sick.
Maybe
Let's go.
put your head on the side closer to the ramp just in case, you know? 'cause
Yeah, okay.
You can lose your feet, not your head, all right?
All right, dude, let's do it.
Let's
Hell
do
yeah,
it.
let's go. Are we scared, or is this all chill?
We'll see in just a second, dude.
Wow.
Got lost 3 hours last year.
Lost 3 hours.
Yes.
That's hey, that's how you do
Security's
it.
looking for me and everything.
Where'd they find you?
I'm not sure. I don't remember that place.
Oh yeah, dude. Breakfast
Breakfast
of champions.
of champions.
All right, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Fuck yeah. That's what we're.
We're just not gonna watch anything like that. disgraceful. How just gross. China. Is this the one that they had behind the paywall?
We want to start tonight with a clip from January of Joe Kent, who later went on to become, until yesterday, the director of the National Counterterrorism Center. Here it is.
What do you think the immediate and then longer term effects of a war with Iran would be on the United States?
Immediately, it would be very bloody. I have no doubt that we could probably defeat some of their air defense and go in there and have another shock and awe campaign. But again, like we saw how the shock and awe campaign in Iraq really didn't actually work in the long run. So I have no doubt that we'd have some immediate results that people would cheer about here in the United States. But Iran, Persia has always been an empire. It's been around longer than any of the other players in the modern Middle East right now, and they are not going anywhere. If we get deeply involved and deeply entangled with Iran, we are playing right into China's hands, because China would like nothing more than for us to be committing our military industrial base to a war in Eastern Europe, in Ukraine, and then to be committing our conventional military power, our blood and our treasure, back in the Middle East. That will make the Pacific, our actual border, extremely vulnerable to Chinese aggression. Or China will simply just watch us bleed out economically as we bleed out on the battlefield on these couple different theaters. It's absolute insanity. It's opening up Pandora's box. And again, for what gain to the American people?
So the very first thing you notice about that clip, which was shot almost exactly a year before the current president was inaugurated, is that it was right. It was prescient. He called it. He called the general outline. Not that it was hard to call, but Joe Kent knows what he's talking about. He spent a lot of his life in that region, and he said, a year before this current presidency began, this is a big, serious country. It's the oldest civilization in the region, and if we went to war with Iran, there would be a momentary sugar high. Americans would support it because they support their own country, and they certainly support their military, and people would approve of it. But very quickly, you could see a process by which we got caught there, trapped there, bear trap. Hard to extricate yourself from that. And sitting on the sidelines would be our chief global competitor, China, who would be silently nodding along with a slowly spreading grin, knowing that they were the main beneficiary of what they were seeing, of our waste of American lives and treasure, as Joe Kent said. So we haven't reached that stage, thankfully. We're moving toward it, and everyone who's watching carefully knows that. And if you're honest, you know that. So this is a very serious moment we're in, and we're watching not just a war in Iran, but potentially a total realignment of the world and the loss, in some sense, of what the United States has globally. This could be the beginning of the end of our influence in a lot of the world, and that's just the beginning. So again, that's a big deal. It's starting to dawn on people, and that leaves Joe Kent as one of the relatively few people connected to this administration who said it in public. Is that good or bad? Well, it may seem good. Of course, you want to be around people who have clarity about what's going to happen next. But in practical terms, it's bad. In fact, it's always bad. Whenever you have somebody who stands up and says, don't do this, here's what could happen, and then you do it anyway, and it turns out that person was right, your first instinct is not to apologize and correct your behavior. Your first instinct is to crush the person who called it correctly. And that's your instinct because, and it's the lowest of all instincts, but it's a human instinct, that's your instinct because his correct prediction is an indictment of you, of course, and it's a way to deflect attacks on you and your own culpability by blaming the guy who told you it was going to happen before you did it. And this is a long-standing fact of human life, and in the last 60 years in this country, it has been the iron law of foreign policy, which is to say, when things go wrong, the only people who get punished are the people who criticized the adventure in the first place. You can imagine General Westmoreland attacking Walter Cronkite of CBS News, whatever you think of Walter Cronkite, in my case, not much. But fundamentally, it was Walter Cronkite sitting very much on the sidelines saying, hey, this war's not going well. And there was General Westmoreland prosecuting the war. But General Westmoreland argued till the end of his life, in some ways successfully, that he lost the war because Walter Cronkite criticized the war. Is that really true? How many troops did Walter Cronkite command? Was he in charge of strategy? Don't think so. He was a newsreader in New York. But you can see why Westmoreland did that, why a lot of people believed it, agreed with Westmoreland. You saw the same thing happen in the days after the tragic and incredibly stupid Afghan withdrawal under Joe Biden. That didn't help the United States. Of course, we had to get out of Afghanistan, but the way we did it, who would argue that was a good thing? It was a terrible thing and resulted in the deaths of a lot of Americans. So who was punished for that? As far as we can tell, and we've checked, only one person. And that would be Colonel Stu Scheller of the United States Marine Corps. What was his crime? Planning the withdrawal from Afghanistan? Oh, no. No, Stu Scheller's crime was saying out loud, boy, that didn't work very well, and why'd we do this? And for that, he went to jail. The people who actually did it, who gave the orders, or who carried them out without asking questions about them, which was everybody else, they're fine. You don't even know their names, and they certainly haven't been penalized. So there is a long history, because this is a standing feature of the way people are, that you criticize those who told the truth and who were right, who called it ahead of time. Now, in a functioning society, you get a hold of yourself and you understand that people are like this, but if you want to be successful as a society, you have to restrain that impulse because it's low and it's counterproductive. And if you silence people who tell the truth, you end up making the same mistakes again and again and again. And maybe that's why we're here at this pivotal point in our war with Iran. So that's the first thing you notice. Joe Kent was right. Therefore, Joe Kent must be destroyed. And there is, of course, this ongoing effort to do that, to dismiss Joe Kent as a tool of the Islamists or a leaker, or say he's married to someone who works for Hezbollah, or lie after lie after lie. But they're all aimed at Joe Kent, the man, at his motives, at his character, at his personality, at his wife. And that's by design, because none of them touch on his reason for resigning as director of the National Counterterrorism Center. Because if you focused on that, you would have to answer his questions. You'd have to answer, is this true? Is what Joe Kent, who possessed highest level intelligence clearances, who was really barred from knowing no secret in the U.S. government since he was one of our top intelligence officials until yesterday? Seems like a pretty informed guy. Is what he's saying true? That's the last conversation anyone in Washington wants to have, so just attack him. And you're going to see a lot more of that. The people who said this war was a bad idea will be punished. And the more it turns out they were right, which is to say the worse this project goes, the more it becomes obviously counterproductive to American interests, the more vigorously they will be punished, unto and including jail. Stu Scheller went to jail. Probably not the only one who will going forward. So you should just know that and understand what you're seeing in those terms. The second thing that comes immediately to mind when you watch Joe Kent from January of 2024 talk about what would happen if we went to war with Iran is that what he said that day, a year before Donald Trump's inauguration, could have been said by Donald Trump, maybe with a different style. He was making Donald Trump's case, the case that Donald Trump has made for a very long time.
Perfect.
Donald Trump, as everybody knows, became the Republican nominee in 2016, 10 years ago, in part because he was the only Republican running for president that year out of a field of nearly 20 people who was willing to say what everyone else knew but was afraid to say, which is the Iraq War didn't help us. It hurt us. It was a dumb idea, and it went on way too long, and it became the quagmire that people like Donald Trump predicted it would be.
We're talking about Joe Kent.
And the American public, so relieved to hear the truth about something they already knew, made him the Republican nominee despite maybe some concerns. But they did it because, hey, he was right, and he's the only one brave enough to say so. And Donald Trump made varieties of that case for the next 10 years, and in many cases specifically about Iran, because Trump has seen, long before most people in Washington, before almost anyone in Washington, the big picture, the outline, which is this is a contest between the United States in the West and China in the East, a rising power that matches or maybe exceeds our economic power globally. And we have to figure out how to apportion power. And we don't want to get sidetracked with engagements like, I don't know, another endless Middle Eastern war, because in the end, the only winner of that conflict is China. China in this specific case. Whoever in the end settles this conflict, whether it's the United States or some other power, whoever comes in at whatever the end of it is and says, enough, this is hurting the world, each side has made its point, but the global economy has a critical interest in the Persian Gulf, that's energy, and we're going to stop this now. Whoever that person is will become more powerful than ever, and everyone else will become less powerful. The person who settles disputes is in charge, not the person who starts them, not the person who wins them, the person who stops them. When dad comes home and stops the fighting between brother and sister, who's in charge? Dad, because he stopped the conflict. All of which is to say, if at the end of this conflict, it's China that comes in, China which has a vested interest in what happens in the region since they're a major consumer of Gulf energy, if it's China that comes in and restores the energy flows out of the Persian Gulf and restores some version of peace, gets the fighting to stop, then China is in charge of the Persian Gulf. That's just a fact of nature. And so a lot is at stake, as Joe Kent knew, as Donald Trump knew. And so the question is, how did Donald Trump, after 10 years of saying one thing, do in the pivotal act of his presidency exactly the opposite? That's not just an academic question. It's not the beginning of a conspiracy theory about some shadowy lobby. It's the most important question we face, because this is not the first time.
It is, and it's because it's exactly what he says it is. And you don't think that these people are on the exact same wavelength, man? Like, these people are all on the same wavelength, dude. The sky is the same. Where did he come from? He came from the media. The media, guys. The media. He came from the media. And the media realized that they were crumbling. So they sent their little disciples out into the fucking world to gain followings and beg our followings to keep their agenda rolling. Think about it.
The United States has entered into this kind of war against the wishes of its own population and in clear contravention of its own interests, against its interests. This isn't good for us. No one has made the case that it's good for us. And increasingly, as the days pass, it becomes obvious to everyone why it's not good for us.
Nothing is good for us like
and
that.
If you
Nothing
don't believe
has
that,
been good for us.
then check the prices of food and fuel and everything you buy, because everything you buy is dependent on the price of energy and the production of fertilizer, both of which are affected almost immediately by the closure of the Straits of Hormuz. So we did this again. It's not exactly clear how or why we did this.
Why? Oh,
but we
no.
need to find out.
No,
and there is great
not.
resistance to finding out. And you've noticed that
It's not fucking
in the last
clear, dude.
36 hours since Joe Kent resigned
it's not
as
fucking
director of the
clear,
National
dude.
Counterterrorism Center, one of our top intel
No.
officials. Because
it's not clear at all, dude. I mean, Tucker, dude, come on, man. I like you, bud, but
the attacks on him have
Clear as
prevented
day.
an honest conversation about what he's actually saying. And what he's saying is,
It's
and he
clear
says
as
it
day.
clearly, and we're going to ask him about it directly in just a moment,
Thursday, buddy.
Israel got us into this war. Its lobby in the United States pressured the president, and its prime minister in Israel told the president, we're going without you.
That's right.
Join us, because if you don't,
That's right.
your troops in the region, your interests in the region, your citizens in the region will all be at risk. You have no choice. They led the way.
That's right.
That's Joe Kent's position.
Why'd they do that?
And rather than push back against that and say, no, actually, he's wrong, they're telling you to shut up. And why are they doing that? Well, there's only one reason people ever become hysterical and slanderous, start screaming at you rather than answering you. It's because they're lying.
Why'd they do that?
And the truth is, this is not the first time you've watched people in charge lie. This has been going on a long time.
Like
and
you.
lies give way to a whole
You
bunch of
lie
bad things.
too.
More lies. Once you tell a lie, you bolster it
And you
with further
lie.
lying.
And you lie.
Hysteria, the fear of being caught lying.
Tucker, you lie.
The rage and slander. If the person catches me lying, he wins. In the zero-sum game of lying, I die.
You know,
You go in the
so
attack to cover your lies.
You know how hard it is.
And bad
too?
judgment.
You know how hard it is now too. It's hard. Hard to lie. Like these fools used to lie. They used to lie a lot. About a lot of shit. Now, hard for them to lie. But then, you look at a platform like Twitter. That place is full of nothing but lies. But I digress.
You can't make wise decisions on the basis of lies because they're not true. They're not based in reality. That didn't actually happen. Or in this case, it did happen, but you're pretending it didn't. So a country based on lies, like a family based on lies, like an individual life based on lies, cannot succeed. In fact, it's hellish. As all of us have experienced in our lying. And so the only way out of this is to stop lying, is to tell the truth now.
Tell it.
Probably 63 years after we should have started telling the truth.
All right, tell me the truth,
But
Tucker.
it's never too late to tell the truth now about everything. Because it's never as painful as you think it will be.
Well, I would like you to tell me the
It's
truth,
actually
Tucker.
an act of liberation. In fact, it's the only real act of liberation.
I would like
Telling
you.
the truth sets you free because the truth itself
What is the
sets
truth?
you free. That is always and everywhere a fact.
What
and the longer you delay
is
doing that,
truth?
the more horrible the consequences of your lies.
Come on, man. You got to know everything.
So let's
by
hope
now,
that
right?
tonight, with this conversation with Joe Ken, is
Yeah?
the beginning of the long overdue truth-telling,
Oh.
which is the only thing that will save this country. And one final note about Joe Ken, who I spent the last 24 hours with.
Ooh.
Joe Kent's resume hardly needs explanation because everyone is aware this is a man who deployed on 11 combat missions to the global war on terror. This is sort of the perfect representation of the GWAT generation. This is one of those guys we often celebrate, but too rarely hear from, who we sent out to
Pretty
fight
bright, though, huh?
the so-called war on terror that began on 9/11. And it's an entire generation of men,
crazy, like,
men who
bright,
look and
huh?
sound, for the most part, very much like Joe Kent. So the
Let me
implication, of
switch it
course,
on
he doesn't care about
things. I
security
bet
or
you I
he's
can make
soft
it
on
look
Iran.
better
Joe
on
Kent
here.
spent, well, the majority of his 20s and 30s fighting Iranian proxies and watching his friends get killed by them. So this is someone who's actually earned the right to speak about Iran and the war on terror. And of course, he was the director of the National Counterterrorism Center. So he's thought a lot about terrorism in this country and the blowback from events like this. And we're going to ask him about that as well. But the other thing to notice about Joe Kent, and it may be his defining factor, is that he doesn't slander anyone. His resignation letter was not an attack on Donald Trump. It wasn't a promise to write a tell-all memoir about what he saw on the inside or to aggrandize himself or to get a job on a TV show or sell something. I asked him at dinner last night, what are your plans? None. He did this purely because he believes, as he'll explain in a second, this is the only way to save the United States from certain disaster. Tell the truth. Air the secrets. Be honest for once in decades about what is actually happening, things that everybody who lives here suspects are happening. In some cases, we're probably wrong. We've come to the wrong conclusions. That's okay. Tell us what actually happened. Tell us why you did this. And let's reorient this country where it should be, which is around its own citizens. Make the decisions that you make based on one criterion. Is this good for my people or not? In the way that a father would lead his family or an officer would lead his troops. It's not complicated. Everybody wants that. That's not a partisan question. That's a human question. And that's the question Joe Kent is posing. Why can't we do this? Why can't we say this? It's not an attack on anybody. Joe Kent himself does not attack anybody. But this is a last-ditch attempt, not simply to save the country from disaster in Iran, but to save the country, period. And as you listen to him speak, ask yourself, is this a man who's working for Hezbollah, or is an egomaniac or a leaker, or is this a man who says very little when he has nothing to say, who speaks straightforwardly and with honesty, self-evident honesty? Is this a man of dignity and decency? Yeah. Is this a man that America once had a lot of? Is this a man who was once, in effect, the American archetype, the guy you looked up to, the guy you wanted your son to be? Whether you agree with him or not,
we'll get it real
maybe you're reaching completely different conclusions. But as you listen to him speak, ask yourself, is this the kind of person who makes me proud to be a fellow American? Because it's really a referendum on us. If we can't see that Joe Kent, whatever you think of his opinions, is the kind of man this country should be producing and should be elevating and should be proud of, if we can't see that, then we've failed the test and we've lost. But judge for yourself. Here's Joe Kent. Joe, thanks a lot for joining us. I appreciate this. So I want to go through the letter that you sent yesterday as you resigned as director of the National Counterterrorism Center, and basically through the big points and give you a chance to explain them. You've been spoken for quite a bit over the last 24 hours, so I think it'd be really helpful to all of us if you would speak for yourself and flesh out some of these points. I'm just going to read the first one. I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. How did you reach that conclusion?
I think this is key. I mean, this would be more challenging to explain had the Secretary of State, the President, and the Speaker of the House not come out and said that we conducted this attack at this time because the Israelis were about to do so. So that takes away the argument that there was an imminent threat, as in Iran was planning to attack us immediately. That just simply did not exist.
May I ask you to pause? Sure. And so I've heard people say that, and this just happened, but history has a way of getting rewritten in real time, and then you look back 10 or 15, 20, 25 years later, and no one seems to understand the things that you saw because they've been eliminated. Yeah. So I think it's important to stop and say, here's what we actually know. So I'd like now, if we could, just to play one of the statements that you alluded to, and that's from Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State. And this was shortly after this war commenced. And he was explaining, as is his habit, in a thoughtful, precise way, why. Here's Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that.
Saying that because they had
so that
assets
is
over there, right?
Almost contemporaneous explanation, and it's not offhand. He reasons it out. He explains there's a logic chain there, and he says, we knew not that Iran was going to attack. He did not say that.
Right.
He said we knew that Israel was going to attack Iran, and in retaliation for those attacks by Israel against Iran, Iran might attack American forces.
Right.
So the imminent threat that the Secretary of State is describing is not from Iran, it's from Israel.
Exactly, and I think this speaks to the broader issue. Who is in charge of our policy in the Middle East? Who is in charge of when we decide to go to war or not? In this case, with what the Secretary described, and later on the President, later on the Speaker of the House, and the way the events played out, the Israelis drove the decision to take this action, which we knew would set off a series of events, meaning the Iranians would retaliate. Now, I think there's a potential there where we could have done several different things. We could have simply said to the Israelis, no, you will not. And if you do, then we will take something away from you. I think that it's fine that we offer defense to Israel, but when we're providing the means for their defense, we get to dictate the terms of when they go on the offensive. Otherwise, they stand to lose that relationship. And the Israelis felt emboldened that no matter what they did, no matter what situation they put us in, that they could go ahead and take this action, and we would just have to react. And so that speaks to that relationship. But also, it just shows that there was a lobby pushing for us to go to war. I know we'll get into that later on in the statement, but we had a real potential, I think, knowing what we know of the Iranians and how they react, and in particular, how they react to President Trump's leadership. The Iranians, under President Trump's leadership, especially in his second term, they have shown that they take a very calculated approach to the escalation ladder. For instance, in the lead up to the 12-day war before Midnight Hammer, the Iranians didn't attack us. They were engaged in negotiations with us. When President Trump came back into office, they stopped their proxies who were attacking us under the Biden administration because they knew Biden was weak. They stopped their proxies from attacking us as well. So they knew President Trump was someone who wanted to negotiate, but more importantly, they knew that President Trump was not someone to mess with because he killed Qasem Soleimani, he killed Abu Mahdi Mohandas, he had defeated ISIS. They knew that President Trump was a man of action. He is militarily strong, and so they said, before we take an action, we need to make sure that it's calculated. So I think in this scenario, even if the Israelis told us we're going to strike on this date at this time, and we didn't, try to negotiate with the Israelis and say, hey, we'll take something away from them, I think we still could have back-channeled to the Iranians and said, hey, if something happens here in the next couple of days, it's not us. We're still serious about negotiations, and we don't want to escalate this because it's well known what the Iranians' plans were. We knew that they were going to hit potentially our bases in the region, potentially our allies. We knew about the Straits of Hormuz. All of these things, I think, were fairly well known.
And the Houthis' ability to close the Red Sea, which they've not yet done, but which would be catastrophic to the world.
Everybody knows somebody who has had an unexpected tragedy. You lose a parent, a spouse, and that.
So he doesn't have a problem on principle with an engagement with Iran. You're saying what to that? What's your response?
Well, I have no compunction about really fighting anybody who threatens our country, and the Iranians have posed a threat in the past, and the Iranians have a way of threatening America. They have the capability, and we always talk in the intelligence circles about capability and intent, what your enemy is capable of doing and what they actually want to do. And again, back to the data that we have on the Iranians, they use the escalation ladder. We saw that deliberately during the 12-day war. When they struck back after Midnight Hammer, it was very deliberate. They fired an equal amount of missiles as we dropped bombs on the nuclear facilities, and they basically hit a part of a base in Qatar that they knew we didn't have any troops on.
Yes.
They didn't want to escalate any further than we were willing to go. But also, the Iranians, when they pose a threat to us, they usually do it with their proxies. And if their proxies stick their heads up and their proxies come after us, this is basically the Trump doctrine, we hammer them and we hammer their high-profile leaders. Qasem Soleimani was highly effective and highly revered in Iran because the previous presidents, prior to President Trump, Obama and Bush, let Qasem Soleimani run around, raise proxy armies, kill Americans, and no one ever did anything to him. President Trump rightfully killed Qasem Soleimani. We got his deputy, Abu Mahdi Mohandas, who had American blood in his hands, took them off the battlefield. But then President Trump stopped. He took those two key players off the battlefield, and he said, I'm not going to further escalate with Iran unless you escalate with us, knowing that if we struck Iran and we truly struck the regime, that would only strengthen the regime. So then President Trump did something that's incredibly smart, used that decisive military action, but then he coupled it with an economic package of sanctions, maximum pressure sanctions. And we can debate whether or not we should be using sanctions as the prime reserve currency holder or whatever, but he pressured the Iranians economically after punching them in the mouth and showing that, hey, I won't take this. I'm not Obama. I'm not Bush. If you cross a line, I will come after you. But then he really put the pressure on them economically. And if you look at the effect of the economic sanctions, that's what got the Iranian people on the streets actually protesting against the Ayatollah's government, which is ostensibly what we would like. We would like to see a bottom-up regime change where we get rid of the Ayatollah, but it's the will of the people, and they have a new successful government that's stable that we can deal with. The one way to throw that all out the window, and this isn't just Joe Kent's opinion, many scholars, and I think a lot of intelligence assessments have been written about this too, I know for a fact they have, is that if we struck the regime, it would only strengthen it. And that's not, I think that's just basic common sense. I mean, I think of myself, and probably you're in this camp as well. We didn't like Joe Biden. We didn't like Barack Obama. But if an outside force were to come in here and try and topple them while they were the president, I would 100% rally around the flag. That's just common sense. So if we wanted to strengthen
you actually
the Ayatollah,
did. You joined the military under Bill Clinton,
under Clinton,
whom I assume you didn't vote for.
Right.
Right. You joined in 1998. You've gone the whole cycle of the war on terror, I notice. And served out as an NCO, I think, your entire...
NCO and warrant officer.
Yeah, warrant officer, 20 years. And I should just say, I hate ever to refer to a man's resume as like a data point because your ideas exist separately. But in this specific case, meaning you spend most of your time fighting Iranian proxies.
Yeah, a good deal of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're aware of the threat from Iran. You have personally used violence against that threat.
I have.
Yeah, a lot of it, I think. And you supported the president's policy up until fairly recently.
Sure he's warm.
And you've said that a lot in public. In fact,
He's
you went to work for him.
definitely
He
warm.
hired you.
Yeah.
Right. But here's from what I can tell, is the central
We're coming
question.
back in.
Imminent threat. Now, the
Yeah.
president has said many times to many people, including the public, Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. I'm sure he must have said that to you. You don't have to say it. But he said it to everybody. Is that fair?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
He said to everybody.
They can't have a nuke. Whenever
They
asked,
can't
said,
have
let's
a
just start
nuke.
here. They can't have a nuke. Okay, got it.
Can't have a nuke.
Everyone agreed with that conceptually. Was Iran
Everyone agreed with that
on the
conceptually. by the way.
verge of getting a nuclear weapon?
No, they weren't. 3 weeks ago when this started, and they weren't in June either. I mean, the Iranians have had a religious ruling,
We knew it.
against actually developing a nuclear weapon since 2004. That's been in place since 2004. That's
knew it.
available in the public sphere. But then also we had no intelligence to indicate that fatwa was being disobeyed or it was on the cusp of being lifted. The Iranian strategy, it's actually pretty pragmatic. The
Nobody
Iranians
knew
are obviously aware of what's taking place
Yeah.
in their region, and their strategy was to not completely abandon their nuclear program because they saw what happened to Muammar Gaddafi in Libya when he said, hey, I've got no more nukes. I'll do what you say. I'll give up my nukes.
And we gave him the Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah, we regime changed him, and he was executed by his own people in the most horrific way.
Sodomized by a bayonet. Right.
Oh.
Okay. So that's that's the lesson I think that the entire
Fucking drill
region
'em.
took from that
Yeah.
when Hillary Clinton.
Unfortunately, that is what
Had
the
him killed.
neoliberal warmongers. That's the lesson that they showed everyone in the region. And then conversely, the Iranians also knew that if they came out and said, "Okay, we've got a nuke," whether they were bluffing or not,
Right.
Saddam Hussein, Iraq right next door. So they kind of
And
had
he
this,
hung, I think.
He was hung by his own people, after a bloody, war that's still essentially going on inside of Iraq. So the Iranians' position, when viewed from the lens of the region, was actually
You
fairly
guys
pragmatic.
think
They were
that's what the
preventing,
deal is, bro?
themselves from developing a bomb, but they still wanted the ability.
Ooh, I
they wanted
got-
the
you know
ability
what I
to
got?
enrich. They wanted the ability to have some components so that they weren't
got some
completely
stuff.
stripped of it. And when we always assessed that they were either several months or a year, 2 years away from actually being able to
think I
develop
have some
a
things
nuclear
I
weapon,
could
and that's not
use.
because the Iranians are stupid people. I think we can tell right now that the Iranians are anything but stupid. They had the ability, I think, that the brain power to actually develop one, or they could have simply traded a ton of oil with Pakistan or with someone else to actually get a nuclear weapon.
Right?
They were not doing that. We had no intelligence to indicate that they were.
See?
Then why
war.
was the president, was he told that they were on the brink of it? Why at the beginning of every conversation about Iran would the president say, I don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon? Why was that the central question when, and you would know since you were the director of the National Counterterrorism Center, why would he say that if there was no intelligence or evidence that they were actually developing a nuke?
So, I mean, a couple things. This is what I talk about in the letter about this ecosystem of information that's laundered through a lot of prominent neoconservative types that are very sympathetic to the Israeli cause, and then also Israeli government officials who give us things in semi-official channels. What they did was they created basically a shifting red line or a new red line. So if the president's red line was Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, we've actually got a lot of trade space in there for a deal to be made because of what I just described with the Iranian policy. Essentially, the Iranians saying, okay, well, we don't want a nuclear weapon. Well, that means we basically are at a point where we can start negotiating and we can come up with a deal. And the president is a fantastic deal maker. So if your goal is to move us away from any kind of deal and your goal is to move us into a conflict, you have to shift that red line. And that's where a lot of this, I would say, what became a de facto U.S. policy of Iran can have no nuclear enrichment. It was laundered through a lot of the different talking heads, Mark Levin, Mark Dubowitz, you've got the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, you name it. Washington, D.C. has plenty of pro-Israeli lobbyists who will come and say those things, who will publish think pieces on it, who will go on the media, who will run op-eds in the Wall Street Journal to talk about this, why they can't have any enrichment whatsoever. And then we have a high degree of engagement with Israeli government officials who will come in and say, well, they're enriching and they could enrich, or they could enrich more, and that will get them closer to a nuclear weapon. So then enrichment basically became the new U.S. policy. And the only official I've heard, and folks are welcome to look for this, that said this in the first Trump administration was Mike Pompeo. He said it. The president didn't say it. The president has been very consistent. He said they can't have a nuclear weapon. But again, like I said, that puts us at a place where we actually could have negotiations. And only President Trump, I think, could successfully have negotiations with Iran because he actually punched them in the face. And the Iranians had been walking all over us. They had been killing our soldiers. All of that is true. I have no sympathy whatsoever for the Iranians, what their proxies were doing. President Trump level set that when he killed Qasem Soleimani and he killed Abu Mahdi Mohandas. The folks who wanted to push an actual regime change war in Iran knew this, and they knew there was a potential to get a deal, or there was a potential for President Trump just to continue the policy of maximum pressure sanctions, and if you come after us, we will hit you hard. And that got the protesters out on the street in Iran, and that's actually what the regime feared the most. I don't think the Ayatollah feared dying, not because he, is some crazy lunatic. I'm sure some degree of the Shia martyrdom culture played a factor in that. However, I think he knew that if he was killed, the regime would survive because the people would rally around the regime.
Well, there's been a lot of noise in the news lately, but none of it matters if you can't hear it. And there's no shame in that. It happens to millions of people every year. If you shoot a lot, you know the feeling. Our friends at Audion can change your life. Audion offers FDA-compliant hearing aids for as low as $98. No prescription, no doctor's visit required. Available at over 10,000 retailers nationwide, including Walmart and Walgreens. Over 1.5 million Americans already use Audion, and it's changed their lives. No more squinting and struggling to hear as people try to talk to you. Audion helps you reconnect to the world and, more important, to other people who are the key to life. Visit heartucker.com. That's hear, H-E-A-R, tucker.com, or call 1-800-453-2916 to learn more about how Audion can help you or someone you love hear better. It's essential healthcare hearing, and it's now accessible and affordable. That's what the system should have done all along.
I believe you predicted this, some years ago. I think we're watching. I mean, it's hard to know exactly what we're watching, but it seems consistent with what we are watching. So I'm just focused on this question of imminent threat, because that's really the only justification I think most Americans would accept for a preemptive war.
Certainly.
Otherwise, just like a war of choice done because Bibi told you to, and no one wants to get behind that because it's obviously illegitimate. So imminent threat, you're saying that there was no intelligence that you saw with the highest level clearance, obviously involved in this conversation, that showed an imminent threat from Iran to the United States?
No, unless we took certain actions, unless we came after them in a way that they thought threatened the regime. Then we basically knew what they were going to do.
Well, okay, right, of course.
Right, but like any country. So if you attack any country, we know that they're going to have a reaction.
We face an imminent threat once we attack you.
Yeah, exactly. But there was no intelligence that said, hey, on whatever day it was, March 1st, the Iranians are going to launch this big sneak attack. They're going to do some kind of a 9/11 Pearl Harbor, et cetera. They're going to attack one of our bases. There was none of that intelligence. Again, back to what we know about the Iranians, they're very, very deliberate with the escalation ladder. And again, they're only deliberate under President Trump's leadership because they knew and they took President Trump very, very seriously.
So, I mean, I just think it's a remarkable thing to nail down because you're not some guy on Twitter. You're a senior, as of yesterday, you were a senior U.S. Intelligence official who's not hostile to President Trump, who's not here to write a tell-all book or launch a media career. So I think you're a sober voice on this.
That's a little better.
And just to be clear, there was no intelligence that showed an imminent threat. There was no intelligence that showed they were on the cusp of building a nuclear weapon. There was no intelligence, indeed, that showed they were trying to build a nuclear weapon. And nobody said, I've seen it, but you haven't. It exists, but you just haven't seen it. Did you ever hear anybody say there is intel that shows this?
I did not, no. But I know how this works. I know the Israeli officials, some in intelligence, some in government, will come to U.S. government officials, and they will say all kinds of things that we know from our intelligence just simply isn't true. And they'll say, hey, I'm giving you a preview. It's not in intelligence channels yet, but here's what's going to happen. And that doesn't usually come to
Wait a second. I mean, I thought that U.S. policymakers made their decisions on the basis of intelligence collected and or vetted by our intelligence. That's why we have intelligence agencies that soak up hundreds of billions a year. But you're saying that Israeli officials short-circuited the entire U.S. government and just went right to American policymakers and said, it doesn't matter what your country says, here's what we know? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, usually they're pretty slick, and
of course.
And they'll say, hey, this isn't in intelligence channels yet because it's going to take some time to get there. And here they're on the cusp of building a bomb. You know, they're going to, I don't know, you pick your topic. A lot of times they'll sample different things until they find what sticks. But in general, the narrative about, you know, they're going to do a preemptive attack, or really just they're going to build a nuclear weapon. And if we don't stop them now, they're going to build a nuclear weapon. And enrichment is the pathway to that. They're going to continue enriching at whatever percent. Enrichment became the narrative. And so that hung up and that short-circuited and really sabotaged the entire negotiations, because the Iranians basically said, like, we're not going to negotiate if the whole starting point is no enrichment. And again, that had nothing to do with a nuclear weapon, and the Iranians essentially agreed to that. So the Israelis came in, they moved that red line, and they would do a lot to say, like, oh, they're enriching, and you know what that means? That means in X amount of time they could have a nuclear bomb. You have to ask now. And then the way the ecosystem would work is that the talking heads on TV, you know, your Mark Levin's, Sean Hannity's, et cetera, they would say basically the exact same thing that night on TV, or there would be a piece written in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, that would say something very, very similar. Yet, if you looked in classified intelligence, we didn't see any of that.
I mean, that must have been such a weird experience for you.
Bizarre.
Since you have access to the biggest and most powerful and presumably the best intel agencies in the world.
Backlighting a little bit better now.
And you're seeing people say things as fact when you know that they're not facts.
Right.
What was that like?
Infuriating.
It's a wee bit better.
And I think that's why, in general, in the lead up to this last iteration, a good deal of key decision makers were not allowed to come express their opinion to the president.
Not allowed by whom?
I think it's important
Backlighting looks quite
for me
a
right
bit
now
better
to stay
now.
on the facts. I don't want to point names. I don't want this to become a name calling or this guy did this on this day.
But any leader has gatekeepers, and so you're saying that you were prevented from bringing this information directly to the president by gatekeepers.
Well, there wasn't a robust debate. So in general, because our assessment really hadn't changed, we would send those up through intelligence channels. Everybody's kind of reading the same intelligence, but then what actually gets briefed to the president can be very, very different depending on who and how it's delivered. And without a level set from the intelligence community, someone like DNI coming in and saying, Mr. President,
just trying to
here's the
dial
full
it
scope
in,
of the
guys.
intelligence and what it means,
Like, really,
you're
I'm
kind
just
of
trying to
lacking
dial it
that
in
sanity check of where we're at, or at least a good sampling, to gauge how accurate what the
have a lot
Israelis
of
are saying
new
is. And that process, in my view, was
going on
largely
right now.
stifled in this second iteration. There was robust debate and robust discussions leading up to the 12-day war into Midnight Hammer. But this second round, to me, and I'm sure others will refute this and disagree with me, but what was conducted by just a handful of small of advisors around the president.
That is true.
like that's
I believe what you're saying is true.
But I don't like.
My sense, though, and you would know more than I, is there weren't a lot of people directly around the president who work there, who work at the White House, the principals,
I don't like
who are making an aggressive case for this war. Do you think there was? I mean, was there a majority of like his top 10 advisors who were saying we must do this now?
Like the.
I think the circle that was around him was very, very tight and very small, and I think they were all on the same sheet of music. And I think a lot of them were getting their information from the ecosystem that I described. And I think we'd be in a different place if we would have talked about the actual what the intelligence picture is and what our interest is.
So Israeli government talking points laundered through Fox News and the Wall Street Journal, is that the ecosystem you're talking about?
Yeah, and then the Israeli officials coming in and basically either ahead of time or after the fact saying the same thing, like the enrichment is going to get them a nuclear bomb in a set amount of time.
Do you believe that you and the DNI, for whom you worked until yesterday, had as much FaceTime with the president as Israeli officials did?
I don't know. I don't know that for sure because I don't know exactly
really
how frequently the Israelis were engaging directly with the president. It did seem like Benjamin Netanyahu was Obviously that was all public that he was
Because I really want it to be
quite a bit. Yeah, quite a bit. And then his other officials as well, Dermer, et cetera. Those guys were in. They were making phone calls. Just a lot of engagement from them. And again, when we would hear, or you'd hear what they were saying, it didn't reflect in intelligence channels, even intelligence that we shared with the Israelis, that the Israelis were giving us, in many cases. So there was a clear gap between the intelligence and the information that the president was given and the decisions that the president was making.
I don't want to put you in an uncomfortable position. Obviously, you're not going to divulge anything that's classified. I don't think you would.
I think
you definitely shouldn't, because there are people who hurt you for that, and you shouldn't. So without encouraging you to do that, I think it's a commonplace. It's understood in Washington. I've heard from many people who work in your business that a substantial portion of our information touches Israel at some point. Either it's collected by them, it is shaped by them. It's not purely American. Do you think it's fair?
Especially in the Middle East, I would say. I mean, look, the Israelis are tactically very proficient.
Yes.
They have a very competent intelligence service. And there's a lot that we can learn from them in the craft of intelligence.
Yes.
So they're very proficient. They're very good. However, whenever we get information from a liaison service, I think it's incredibly important to realize that it could be given to us to influence us as well as to inform us. And the way that I would see Israeli information, in particular coming from senior officials directly to our senior officials, that caveat just wasn't given frequently enough. And there's a lot of times, some of this is just because of bureaucratic practice, but a lot of it I think is just we feel very comfortable with the Israelis. A lot of them are dual citizens. They sound like us. They don't feel foreign. We kind of go into a more complacent mode where we trust a lot of what they have to say, not keeping in the back of our mind that they have their own agenda and we have our own agenda at the end of the day. Now, I'd say a lot of times we have the same agenda. It's very, very, I think, tactically the same when it comes to fighting Hezbollah, when it comes to fighting terrorism, sure. But when it comes to what's our strategic goal in a war that's going to have ramifications for our nation, for the region, for global energy supplies, I think most folks right now at the Pentagon and the intelligence agencies, they would say us and the Israelis actually have a different objective here. I don't believe that our objective has been clearly defined because we're shying away from regime change. The Israelis are not shying away from regime change. They want to knock out lock, stock, and barrel the current government. They don't seem to have a plan for what comes next.
Well, that was my next question. I think you would have heard tell of such a plan. So if you're going to take out a government, I think it's fair to ask what replaces it. And I have asked a bunch of people, many people, this question, never gotten any answer whatsoever other than there's no plan. The Israelis don't have a plan because they don't care. Do you think that's fair?
I think that's completely fair. I think as Americans, rightfully, we want a clear stated objective and end state for war. I think that's something that was born out of the GWAT, was born out of the Vietnam era. Americans want to know why we're going to war, and what the end state is, and they can get on board in general if that's clearly articulated. That's not the case with Iran. The Israelis are different. I think a lot of times, again, because a lot of them speak English, they culturally feel the same, but the Israelis have a much different tolerance for how and why they're going to war and for their endurance for war. The Israelis are completely fine with Iran slipping into chaos. That means that the Ayatollah and the IRGC can't really threaten them anymore. Hezbollah's money might be cut off in their head. And so complete chaos in Iran, it's not necessarily a bad thing for the Israelis. For us, for global energy, Straits of Hormuz, our partners in the GCC, mass migration problems in Europe, this is a major problem.
It's a catastrophe for the world.
For the world, yeah.
Hate to brag, but we're pretty confident this show is the most vehemently pro-dog podcast you're ever going to see.
Oh, yeah?
We can take or leave some people, but dogs are non-negotiable. They are the best. They really are our best friends. And so for that reason, we're thrilled to have a new partner called Dutch Pet. It's the fastest growing pet telehealth service. Dutch.com is on a mission to create what you need, what you actually need, affordable quality veterinary care anytime, no matter where you are. They will get your dog or cat what you need immediately. It's offering an exclusive
like we just killed, Ali Laranjani, who was a negotiator, who was eager to get us a deal. Again, look, I've got no love for the IRGC. I've got no love for the Iranians, But you've got to realize,
Just to be clear,
if you want it to end,
in case you're tuning in right now, you fought their proxies.
I fought their proxies. I mean, I put countless of them in flex cuffs or much worse. I've gone after the Iranians. I was in specialized outfits that went after the Iranians and their proxies. These are very serious people. They're not supermen by any means. They're humans, but they're serious. And if you give the IRGC a reason to take more control, and they get support from the people, because again, you kill off the Ayatollah, they can say, hey, the last guy was too moderate. Look at what it got us. Like, give us more control.
I get it.
And the Iranian,
You kill a religious leader. That's what I'm saying. You kill a religious leader, you are a religious leader killer. That's the plain and simple fact. You kill somebody, you just kill them, dude. That's it. You kill. You're a killer.
people are going to be like, well, actually, yeah, I don't like getting bombed by the Americans and the Israelis. Maybe we do need to listen to the IRGC.
So a lot of these, the points that you're making, I think are insightful, but they're also pretty obvious if you kind of game it out for 10 seconds. Yeah. So it seems like you've got two different goals. You've described Israel's goal as just regime change, permanent chaos, take Iran off the map as a coherent nation state, just tie them up with internal chaos. Whatever the effects of that are on the rest of the world, all of them disastrous. Then on the American side, you have the president's stated goal, which is we can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon, which they didn't have and weren't trying to build in any imminent way.
Right.
Okay. So if you join those two together in a common mission in a war, like that's our partner in this war,
yeah,
then you create all kinds of very bad incentives.
Mm-hmm.
And now Larijani, I think, was killed by the Israelis. You saw the Israelis blow up Qatari natural gas facilities today in the Qatari natural gas field, which feeds the rest of the world LNG. Those seem like very obvious steps, not to minimize the threat from Iran, but to lock down the United States in perma-war. We can't get out after we do that. You kill the negotiator, you attack our closest ally in the region, is probably Qatar. You attack Qatar, apparently? Like, no one thought this might happen?
And there's no reins on the Israelis, unfortunately. I mean, we continue to refer to them like as our partners, or equal to the best partners we've ever had. But at the end of the day, the Israelis couldn't do any of this without us. And so we have to be
acting against our interests in a very obvious and very serious way.
And again, it's obvious if we've stated that our goal is just to take away their ability to ever even enrich and to take away their ballistics and to take away their Navy, all these kind of tactical objectives. If we say that that's our objective, and that's when we can come to a place where we can just exit, it's in the Israelis' interest to get us more and more entrenched in this.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what they're doing right now. You know, I when the Israelis killed Larijani, I think I may have misspoke and said we didn't kill him. The Israelis,
yes.
The Israelis struck him. But I do believe in Iran at this point of the war, they view it as, whether we like it or not, I think they view it as us and the Israelis kind of as the same thing.
Well, we've described it that way.
Because the Israelis couldn't do any of this without us. And that's where the relationship is just way off kilter. If they have different objectives than us, then what are we doing letting them drive the war?
So you just said something that's been disputed many times by I'm not going to name anybody, but by advocates for Israel. It's a PR department here in the United States, which is huge. And you said they couldn't do any of this without us. You often hear its promoters, its lobbyists say, Israel just wants to fight its own wars. Back off and let us do it. Is that not true?
I'd love us to run the experiment. We try that.
What would happen?
You know, the Israelis, again, they have the ability to go out and collect great intelligence. They have a very capable military, but they're a very small country. I think Israel would be able to defend itself. I think it could conduct, limited strikes on its borders. I think it could continue carrying out pretty impressive targeted assassinations against its adversaries. And so I think you would see it relatively contained. What it couldn't do is go topple entire governments. It couldn't do something like the Iran war, the Iraq war. It couldn't aggressively, destabilize Syria. These big, heavy lifts of regime change that America has been engaged in, Israel could not do on their own, which is where you get back to the Israeli lobby being just so potent and so powerful and so aggressive.
So that, and I want to ask you about that because that's the line that you're being attacked for. And so I want to go through and have you explain more fully, if you would, why you said what you did and read it. But before I do that, one last question.
It's fine.
Was any of this debated that you know of before this war commenced 3 weeks ago? Did anyone say, well, wait a second, if we do this,